Shoot. Ready? All right. Call the meeting to order.
All right, good evening. Welcome to the Queen Anne's County Commissioners meeting. This is a public meeting that is being aired live on our local cable television station, QACTV 7. These media broadcasts provide county citizens an opportunity to watch and review our scheduled public sessions. In addition to our live audience this evening, we are providing remote options for citizens to watch and participate in county commissioner meetings. Citizens may watch our meeting live on our Queen Anne's County website at www.qac.org/live or on QAC TV's television channel, Atlantic Broadband Channel 7 and High Definition Channel 507. Citizens may also participate by joining the live Zoom meeting by going to www.qac.org/public comment, and citizens may also email comments to publiccomment@qac.org. Comments received will be read during the press and public comment period on this evening's agenda. We acknowledge everybody's participation, and by attending, you acknowledge that this session is both recorded and aired. Press and public comment will be taken and is limited to 3 minutes per person. If you care to speak, please sign the information table in our lobby. Comments longer than 3 minutes can be submitted in writing for the Commissioner's review. We will now stand and be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Commission President Chris Corcorino.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you could remain standing. At our last meeting, I forgot actually that our last meeting was actually the anniversary of when Trooper Wallace Mowbray was killed in line of duty here in Queen Anne's County. So I'd like to have a moment of silence for all the law enforcement that have given their lives to protect the citizens. Thank you.
Okay, we just held a closed session under Section 3-305B8 of the General Provisions Article to discuss pending litigation, and under Section 3-305B1 of the General Provisions Article to discuss personnel, and we did make some personnel decisions. On July 13th, the County Commissioners authorized a phased salary study focused on critical workforce needs and corresponding recommendations to keep pace with local and regional salary wage markets. And I believe we are now ready to entertain a motion to implement the first two phases, phase 1 and 2, of this critical workforce plan. So could I get a motion on that, please?
I move that Phase 1 and Phase 2 of the Critical Workforce Needs Salary Plan be approved and implemented by the Director of Human Resources.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? 5-0, the motion carries.
Okay, thank you, Commissioners. That brings us to the approval of this evening's agenda. So our meeting agenda for today's meeting, August 24th, and the regular and closed session minutes from your August 10th meeting were circulated for review. Do we have any additions or corrections?
Motion to approve the agenda as submitted and the meetings as submitted.
Second.
Minutes, I'm sorry.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Okay, thank you, Commissioners, and that brings us to our first press and public comment period. Thank you for taking the time to express your views to the County Commissioners during this public comment period. Comments are limited.
There's nobody.
Nobody here? Okay, we can skip that introduction for press and public comments and move straight to our new business. So we have 11 items for your consideration this evening. So if you want to turn to tab number 3. And the first item, item 1, on page 1 and et cetera, there are a list. We have 6 resolutions for nuisance violations and liens on public property or private properties for high grass. Can I get a motion on that, please?
I move to approve resolutions 21-09 through 21-14 to place a lien on properties listed in the County Zoning Administrator's Memorandum dated August 24th, 2021 for nuisance violations.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? 5-0, the motion carries.
Okay, thank you, Commissioners. Item 2 on page 75. This is a follow-up to the Worcester Road public information meeting. This is actually a public hearing request. This is from the residents on Worcester Road. This is a road in Kent Island Estates that they wish to bring up to county standards, and they have several dates here, including October 13th, 14th, 20th, and 21st, that they would be able to hold a hearing at the Kent Island Estates Community Hall, and we would need a majority of the commissioners to sit for that hearing.
I move to schedule the proposed Worcester Road Improvement Project public hearing at the Kent Island Estates Community Hall.
Second.
We got a motion, a second, any discussion?
Real quick before we.
We'll need a date as well.
Yeah.
If we could,
Do have
please.
any on the Commissioners' Council, anything for those dates before we?
No.
No.
Margie, can you tell me what those days are? Monday, Tuesday, you know what?
They're Wednesdays and Thursdays, I believe, Commissioner.
So what are the dates?
Yeah, Wednesday, October 13th is a Wednesday, the 14th is Thursday, the 20th is a Wednesday, and the 21st is Thursday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday.
I'm fine with all of them. Because I love my roads guys, and I'll make myself available.
20 or 21 is better for me.
All right. Steve, do you have a preference on any of them? You good?
And do we have a time for that? Shane's here. Is it 7 o'clock?
7 o'clock was mentioned, 6:30.
Yeah, they mentioned
Which one's better for
6:30
you,
or 7.
Chris?
If it's not.
20 or 21st, which one?
Yeah, I can actually do, all but the 13th I can do, actually. So 14, 20, or 21.
Yeah, it's in there. Yeah, 7 PM is what we had listed here. If that's
Same here.
I'm good for any of the nights.
I'm good
So
for
let's
any
go
of
with the
them.
14th.
All right.
That's good.
Good?
Yep.
So I'll add that to the
Excellent.
motion,
Okay.
Margie. Okay.
Any more discussion?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. What time will be at?
7 PM.
7 PM, October
14th.
14th. We'll send out a calendar invite for everybody and get the information to you ahead of time for that presentation. Shouldn't take probably more than half an hour, I wouldn't say. All right, thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, Shane, for coming tonight. Item number 3 on page 76 is a Maryland State Library certification for state aid for fiscal '22, and this is the annual certification for cooperative local library aid. Requires a match from Queen Anne's County. The library project is still ongoing in Stevensville, so we're spending about just over $2 million, and to get the 207,000 allocation from the state share. So we've obviously matched our local share. So can I get a motion on that, please?
I move to approve the certification for cooperative local state aid programs for FY '22.
Second.
We got a motion, a second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0, motion carries.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. Item number 4 on page 79 is the Upper Shore Workforce Investment Board MOU. And this is the MOU that creates the stipulations between the Upper Shore Workforce Investment Board counties and the organization to provide those operational aspects. This group is available to come in for a presentation if you'd like to see them before agreeing to this MOU. So, get a motion, or would you like to have
I
them
move
come
to
in?
sign a memorandum of understanding with the Upper Shore Workforce Investment Board.
Second.
Second.
Got a motion and 2 seconds. Any discussion?
My second was better.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? 5-0, motion carries.
Okay, thank you, Commissioners.
We're on to number 6.
Item 5, we're gonna bypass that. Item number 6 on page 101 is from the Department of Parks and Recreation, and this is a request from them to purchase 2 2022 Chevy Silverado 4-wheel drive pickup trucks from Hertrick Fleet Services from the Maryland statewide contract.
Is this, do we know if this is, sorry.
I was about to observe this as Mr. Chamley's back in town asking for pickup trucks again, but he's not here. I don't blame him. All right, I move to authorize Department of Parks and Rec to purchase 2 2022 Chevy Silverado 2500 extended cab 4-wheel drive pickup trucks from Hertrick Fleet Services in the amount of $72,928 utilizing Maryland statewide contract 2021 trucks, EPO.
I'll second it.
Good
All right,
enough.
got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I have a question. Are they replacing two obsolete vehicles, or are we just adding to the fleet? Because it doesn't,
I couldn't find it either, I was looking.
It does not state.
Doesn't say what it's doing.
right, doesn't say what it's, most of the time they just say, we have two that we're sending
Hired in 1985.
to the mothball fleet, and these are replacement of two older vehicles, but it doesn't say that on it. So,
Well, it was in their budget, so I gotta assume it's a replacement.
I'm okay with it either way.
Generally, they are.
I'm okay with it either way,
have
but
an
I
answer
just,
for that.
I think for,
I agree.
Yeah, the future, just
the
have
court
it
of public
included
opinion, we should probably
Yep.
in the memo.
give more detail.
Yeah, we should have it identify the memo, what it's replacing.
Yes,
Thank you,
absolutely.
Jack.
Particularly when we're replacing
I
rarely
definitely agree with
aged
that.
equipment, it's good to let
Yeah,
people
okay.
know.
We'll definitely do that.
All right, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? 5-0, the motion carries.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. Item number 7 on page 104 is a budget amendment, CC4. This is for the Roman Cook Pier from the Public Landings Division, and so this is an amendment to increase the public landings contract services for, to provide a new gate at the Roman Cook Pier for $26,000, and they're going to use fund balance to make this budget adjustment. And this is an enterprise account, so it's no county dollars per se.
I move to approve budget amendment CC-4 to provide $26,000 for improvements at Roman Cook Fishing Pier.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? 5-0, the motion carries.
Okay, thank you, Commissioners. Item number 8 is Budget Amendment CC5, and this is to distribute from the contingency account the employee cost of living adjustments and the pay for performance salaries across all of the county departments. You can see it's a multi-page amendment, and we budgeted that way initially so that we can make these adjustments once the fiscal year begins. So can I get a motion on that, please?
Move to approve budget amendment CC5.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, you're gonna have to explain that one again, because this was in the budget.
Yes.
So why,
So
I don't
the-
recall us
the-
ever doing this. But
The allocation, the total allocation for all salary adjustments is in contingencies, which is a lump amount. And then this budget amendment then takes that lump amount and distributes it throughout all the departments' salaries in their specific departmental budgets. So they have the spending authority, for each individual
So what did we
position.
budget in that contingency for the COLAs and the pay for performance? I mean, because it doesn't say here what was budgeted and what it actually came out to, because it's at $1,134,036.
Yeah, that's total all for all funds, correct. Yeah.
Off to the right, Jim, everything is an increase, and if you look under the department, see what it says increase, and you go across, it tells you the breakdown, each all the way down per department as you scroll through them.
Yeah.
Well, I
No, I think
understand
he wants to
that.
know, was the total amount that we had in the budget
Yeah, what
compared
do
to
we
what
have in the budget?
this number says?
That's probably about right with the COLA and the.
Yeah,
PPP
that was what it
and
was.
the
The
pay for
total-
performance, yeah.
the
'Cause it was
total-
800 and then 4, so that's one, yeah, it's roughly 1.3, so.
Yeah, 1.134 million.
It was
For
eight-
to-
it was
total
8
for
one.
all county agencies, that would also include the enterprise funds as well.
Okay, that's fine, just
Yeah.
wanted to, I didn't know. if
Yeah,
we
on the
had
last
it.
page of the amendment, you can see that on page 117.
But one of my point is, in 6 budgets, we've never done it this way. We've never come out with a budget amendment to actually distribute the funds.
I can check on that, but I believe we have, but I'll double check on that for you. I mean, they have to redistribute that across the departments.
I understand that, but
I'm
I'm
gonna
just
tend
saying.
to agree with Jim, I don't think we've ever done it
No,
either.
we've never done that, yeah.
I-
Where
I-
we've
I think
seen
this
each
is
and every
doing it
one of the
right,
departments.
honestly.
I'm not saying it's wrong,
Todd
I'm
just
just
does it
curious.
better.
Excuse me?
Todd just does it
He's
better.
very thorough, very thorough, very good. Okay, that's all I had.
All right, thank you, Commissioner.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Think.
5-0, motion carries.
All right, moving on, item number 9 on page 118, we have Budget Amendment CC6, and this is from Mike Clark, and this is to recognize Emergency Rental Assistance Program grant, and we want to use money that we didn't use this year in fiscal '22, so we've spent about $307,000 this year, and this moves the remaining $1.348 million over to fiscal '22, which will be utilized for this program.
Motion to approve CC-6.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
This is the one they just extended, correct? Basically? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, the purpose is just to get the
Yep.
money into this year to
Gotcha.
continue that program.
Yep.
All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0. The motion carries.
Okay, thank you, Commissioners. Item number 10, this is Budget Amendment CC7, and this is for the Board of Education Fiscal '22 Annual Certification Statement. And if you recall, we tabled this from a week ago, and we signed this original certification several months ago that showed the allocation for the Board of Education, including their capital. So this amendment decreases their budget authority in capital by $3.4 million at the board's request. That removes that from the capital budget because they are looking at some different accounting processes, and those expenditures don't qualify as school construction costs. So this actually removes that capital money from the budget. The budget amendment balances it on our end, and the part 2 of this is about $943,000 of these funds that were originally allocated were pay-go. So the second part of this amendment puts that back into general capital projects fund balance, and that's available for our use this year, and continuing use this year. So, and we did have some discussion about this, I believe, at our Board of Education liaison meeting last month.
Motion to approve CC7.
Second?
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Do we need to read it that way?
5-0. The motion carries.
Okay, and we need one more motion to sign to re-execute the annual budget certification statement for the Board of Education.
Motion to re-execute the budget certification for the Board of Education.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, 5-0. Motion carries.
Okay, thank you, Commissioners. And our last action item for this evening is item number 11 on page 131. This is Budget Amendment CC10 for the Department of Emergency Services warehouse project, and this increases budget authority by $91,000, which includes CARES grant funding and just under $3,500 from general capital fund balance for that project.
Move to approve budget amendment CC10.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Is it done?
It is
that
done.
That's completed?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is finished, yes, sir.
All right. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? 5-0. The motion carries.
Okay, Commissioners, thank you very much. That concludes all of the action items for tonight.
Health suite expansion. You know what that is?
We are just a little behind schedule, but we do have a public hearing on County Ordinance 21-06, accessory structures in side yards of property abutting 2 streets, and County Attorney Patrick Thompson is here to officiate the hearing. So, Patrick?
Ready?
Right?
At your regular meeting on July 27th, 2021, Commissioner Corchirino introduced County Ordinance 2106, a bill entitled An Act Concerning Accessory Structures in Side Yards of Property Abutting 2 Streets, for the purpose of allowing residential accessory structures in the portion of the side yard not within the front yard setback on properties abutting 2 Street, and generally revising the provisional residential accessory structures in Chapter 18.1 of the Code of Public Local Laws of Queen Anne's County by amending Section 18.145B of the Code of Public Local Laws. This hearing is being held Tuesday, August 24th, 2021 at 6 p.m. in the County Commissioner Meeting Room, Loaded Building, 107 North Liberty Street, Centerville, Maryland. The Planning Commission sent a favorable recommendation regarding the proposed amendment. Copies of the ordinance have been available at the County Commissioner's Office, 107 North Liberty Street, Centerville, Maryland. during regular business hours and online at the county website. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each. Written testimony of any length can be submitted on or before the hearing date to the county commissioners at 107 North Liberty Street. All hearing sites are accessible to individuals with disabilities. Sign language interpreters and assistive listening systems are available. Part of the record of the proceeding will be a certificate of publication indicating the notice of tonight's hearing was published for 3 successive weeks in the Bay Times, Record Observer, and newspapers of general circulation in Queen Anne's County, as well as the recommendation of the Queen Anne's County Planning Commission in the form of memorandum from Rob Tracy, Senior Planner. I don't think anybody signed up. Is there any public comment with respect to County Ordinance 2106? We don't have anything. Good.
All right, we'll close public comment. Keep it over to 2 weeks.
Yeah, we'll keep the record open for 2 weeks and schedule a vote for 2 weeks on ordinance 2106. Okay. All right. Thank you, Patrick. Now, we also have Patrick Thompson. He is going to talk with us now about redistricting required due to the new census. So I believe there is some information in your book under tab number 5, item A. Oh, no, excuse me, tab number 6. This kind of outlines the requirements for redistricting once we have a new census. And I believe there's a census outline of the numbers that were released on August 12th for your information. Again, tab number 6, item I. So,
Now, what you're looking at is section 4-2 of the county code, which sets out the 4 county commissioner election districts, and provides in subsection B that every 10 years, it's been 20 years since we went to 5 county commissioners, that you have to set up a redistricting board to review the county commissioner's district and suggest any boundary changes. That committee is composed of 2 appointees from the Democratic Central Committee, 2 from the Republican Central Committee, and 3 from you. And they're required to come up with a draft plan, hold 3 public hearings, and make a recommendation to you and give the final vote on the redistricting.
Patrick, did you have any further information on whether the census data was plus or minus 10% so as to promote any of that?
I asked Todd Day if he'd got any census information. I haven't seen anything.
I mean, the census data is still coming out, and there is a sheet in your book. It just shows the total for all the jurisdictions in Maryland, including Queen Anne's. We're listed at a 4.3% increase in total population from 2010 of about 2,076 residents. We're going to get more data over the next month on various specific district information level detail. So we'll certainly provide that as it's available to us.
But you did tell me that if it exceeded a move of 10% within a given district, then we were.
Well,
Obligated to do
I may have misspoken. If the rule is the districts have to be basically equal
Right.
in size, but the courts have held that you can go plus or minus 10%
Right.
from that median.
No, the definition of the word basically is sort of what this all turns on, though.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Okay,
How
so
many have you done, Pat, of these redistrictings?
2.
Done
The
2?
original one and the one in 2011.
So just out of curiosity, have you ever been involved or have you ever recalled when the school system has adjusted its lines for who goes to what school? Have you ever? I'm just wondering, I mean, because, you know, we have schools that are have low population, have schools that are overcrowded, and I wonder when, if, and it's just me asking, if
If
this,
it's required to at a certain point.
Right.
or
We can
something.
certainly ask the superintendent.
I'm just curious when the
and
last
Board
time
of
that
Ed.
ever happened. I know when they built Kent Island High School, that's, they had that floating line, and then they made a hard line, because my son wanted to go to one, and he had to go to the other, so.
Right, or you had the option based on where you lived, you
Correct,
could
yeah,
choose.
yeah.
I think Graysonville was one of those areas.
I mean, because I know in Centerville here, I think there's 3 elementary schools total, somewhat close, and some are full, some are not, and I'm just curious if they ever look at that, and since the census comes out, it'd be once every 10 years, it would seem to kind of make sense to, get your schools all even, so you're not overcrowded or underutilized or understaffed, that's all, just a comment.
But they did do some of that this year. I thought I caught wind of it with Mattapique and all, and the high school, Kent Island High School, didn't they? Chris, you're up that way. Didn't they do something where they moved students from one way to the other? I can't remember what it was. And I know I heard something where.
Mattapique Middle Schools.
The freshmen
Right,
use
right.
Mattapique Middle.
Right,
Right. But they used
which
it
I
in
think
high
is,
school.
I don't know why that's it,
I don't know when that started.
because the high school can't fit them, so.
Right.
Right.
I'm not sure how long it's been up.
But, I don't know when you went to high school.
You mean, you're saying redrawing a
Ten-
lines where,
Oh,
who would go to Stevensville Middle
The
School as
Kennard
opposed to
for ninth
Mattapique
grade.
Middle School?
I think it drills more down to the elementary schools than it does any other schools.
I
Because
just,
the
if you
middle
could
schools are.
just find out when
I mean,
last,
there's
I'm just
turnout,
curious,
not
certainly, if they have a trigger that sets theirs and when they look at that, that's
Certainly,
all.
we can do that.
Well,
And Patrick, is there any, what's the schedule for this redistricting board? We have a little bit of time, right, to get that set up? and-
Yeah, well, actually, you've got a year to make to establish it. 1 year from the publication of the census, and then they should have a proposal, the board, by April 1st of next year.
So,
Plenty of time.
That's another 10.
yes, we don't have a full year then, right? April 1st of '22, we have to have it?
Well, they have to have their recommendation to you by then, and then you've got to go through a legislative process as far as the
So
time.
it'll be 23 before it actually gets to the legislative process. If the deadline for them is April, the legislature's already over for next year, right?
No, it's your
Our legislative
legislation,
process.
not the,
Oh, just
State.
within the county? Okay,
Right.
Okay, all right, gotcha.
it's all in your hands, not the state.
Very well.
All right? Okay, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. Okay, we are
Press and public.
just ahead of schedule, so we are ready for press and public comments, part 2.
Part due.
Nothing?
We have nobody this evening for press and public comments, okay?
All right. We'll start with
Roundtable?
Commissioner Jack Wilson.
I just spent last week, well, most of last week on vacation, but the rest of the week at Mako, it was great to get out with all the counties again, face to face, and had some good conversations, and I think there'll be some good news coming here in the not too distant future for Queen Anne's and the shore, so we'll stay tuned.
Sure do know.
so, thank you, Bruce. So, this is a special edition of Chesapeake Bay Magazine, and it highlights weekends on the water. I don't know if you can get a shot of that, but the availability of the magazine itself at this point is unsure, but there is a link that you can get onto the website for this magazine. There's a great article that was written. It's a collaborative effort on the part of the Economic Development and Tourism Office and the Kent Narrows Development Foundation. And I highly recommend that you get an opportunity, that you open up that link that takes you to the website. Do you have it, Bruce?
Yep.
Is that it?
Yeah, the website's up, they can see it in the search box.
Okay. And then it's a 10-page article, and I think everybody will find it interesting, an interesting read. And even some folks that live here could find out some things that they didn't know before. That's all I have.
All right. Commissioner Steve Wilson.
So
Kudos,
this week-
by the way, to our Economic Development and Tourism Office. They did a great job.
So this week, actually, I think I have something, this seems to, I often feel like it's my chance to advance trivialities, but not this week. there's something happening in this area that's, I think, of real importance, and that is that our medical system is getting in very, very strange shape. Let me explain what I mean by that. As you know, we get, and I get the numbers on alerts, which has to do with the way the emergency rooms are running. And 2 weeks ago, well, all summer, we wound up with usually in summer, the emergency rooms are not on alert, which means they're crowded. When they're on alert, they're crowded. Usually in the summertime, that's not the case. But this year, the numbers were pretty heavy all during the early spring and summer. They kept advancing until last week when they just went off the charts with their 168 hours in a week. And Shore Hospital was on alert 147 out of 168 hours, which is the whole time. Anne Arundel Hospital was 80 hours, 75 hours, or 80. So that was bad, and I was concerned. I called Doc up and I talked it over with Scott, and they're getting held up unloading patients. Well, this week, Shore, Easton, was on alert. This is hard to imagine, 220 hours, including more than half they were heavily on reroute, which means you can't even go there.
So just for the sake of the TV audience, when a hospital goes on alert, that means what?
Well, there are 3 levels of alert. There's yellow, red, and reroute. Yellow means it's crowded, you'll come in slow. 2 means they're running out of, or they're out of beds which they can monitor EKG-wise or anything serious. Reroute means don't come.
Don't come.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a red status, I guess.
That means go reroute, take your ambulance somewhere else. So this week it was just, I mean, it's kind of an unimaginable number. I've never seen a number like that. So I talked to Todd about it, I talked to Scott about it, and Wheatley, and Wheatley tells me that we were down to, I think, 1 ambulance free during the week because they're tied up for so long trying to unload that we can't get them back again. I called, I think you've tried to get them up here, and I left calls with Dr. Hefner, who's the operating head down in Easton, and with Cozell, no answer, no response. Anne Arundel was on reroute, I think 60 or 70 hours. It's unimaginable because there's 7 days a week and 10 hours a day. You can't go there, and that's our...
So our ambulances are staging in the emergency area where they back up to deliver patients, and the patients having to stay in our ambulance because there's no place to put them?
They can't unload them. I mean, they do, but I mean, it just gets slower and slower. And our guys are saying it's not that they're discriminating against our ambulances. It's just that the whole damn system is clogged up, and it's clogged up all over the state. But our hospitals are as bad or worse than any. So, I mean, the thing that had me kind of on edge, not kind of on edge, has me apprehensive is the fact that where are we going to be once this, I mean, a year ago, we had no kids in schools. No kids in schools meant there was essentially no flu season, no cold season, because there was very little contagious opportunity during the winter. This year, even with masks, I mean, it's very hard to imagine how these hospitals are going to be dealing with ER operations and even having beds once we get into the the winter push. So I'm just alerting you that, and alerting the public that this thing to me is, I'd like to have the hospital come in and tell us, what are you going to do when you have 30% more patients if you can't handle what you've got now?
What's inundating the hospitals right now? So do you have any stats? Do you have any stats on what the over caseload is? Is it cardiac? Is it people sick with COVID? Do we have any numbers that say what it is?
I don't, but the COVIDs are actually not that heavy. I mean,
That's what I'm saying. I haven't heard any of that, but like.
What's happened is that, I mean, anytime you ask, the answer is always the same, staffing. And apparently they've lost like 20% or more of their nurses. So the beds are there, and it's not that there's an excessive number of patients, that they can't handle the normal flow even.
So it's
I
staffing
don't-
at the hospital
I
level.
don't see
right?
how
They're
that,
required to have so many staff per bed.
Right.
If
It's
they don't
staffing
have
at
the
the
beds out
hospital
of
level
commission.
right now. is what
yeah,
we
I
have.
don't see how that repairs as you get further down into the winter and you get more COVIDs or something. I just, you know what I mean? This, to me, it's just something I'm alarmed.
Is this the mandate that hospital personnel get vaccinated?
That is a fact that yes, they are supposed to, and they're worried that they're gonna lose a bunch more of their personnel when they do that, which will leave them in even worse shape. So it's something public ought to be pretty cautious about catching COVID, or having anything, given where we are now and headed into,
Eat right and exercise. Take care of yourself.
so,
Don't have a
Well, with that, we do have Ken Kozel scheduled for next month, I believe, on the 28th. He was supposed to come this month, so it's unfortunate that he delayed his appearance here because we are concerned about, this matter. But he is scheduled for September 28th, and I've sent him a series of questions, similar in light to what Commissioner Wilson has articulated here this evening. So as soon as we get those, we'll provide those for
Hopefully he's
your
busy
review.
interviewing new personnel. Sounds like that's.
I hope so too, yeah. But it is certainly a concern.
And there are no pediatric ICU beds in the shore, so you have to travel Hopkins or Children's Hospital, and they're also high capacity right now.
Yeah.
Which brings to light, when are we having the folks from Chop Tank helping? Because that could be somewhat, for us at least, somewhat, because I know it helps. in
Oh, at the
Carolina.
schools, you mean?
Yeah.
We're gonna circle back with them in September. They were putting together a plan of action, sort of a, 1, 2, 3
Okay.
plan of attack, so for the Board of Ed and for us, so we'll make that a priority as well, because that could
Yep.
help provide some
Benefit.
relief. Yep.
Well, I mean, I just think also in those hospitals, just so the public understands that, if you've had a traumatic injury, you're not gonna be sitting in the hallway waiting. I mean,
Right,
one,
they're triaging.
our emergency services are either gonna fly you out, or wherever you go, they're gonna take you right away if it's life-threatening. I do see where, like you said, the cardiac, somebody that doesn't feel good, and they got
Onset, like.
something going on, and yeah, they're gonna have to wait, but, and I agree with that, it is a staffing issue, and it is, that ultimatum, so, that's, the hospitals have to work that out. I don't think it's ever gonna be an issue, they don't have any beds, it's always the staff. I mean, I know that for a fact, that a lot of hospitals would only like to take care of their own, so, like you said, well, without having a hospital, we go somewhere, we run the risk of being turned away if it's not something that's major, so that's the downfall, so kudos to keeping on top of them, so hopefully you can get some results there, because you're right, I read that same report, and we did have a couple days where, I think the longest stretch we had was, I want to say 6 hours, where we had one
unit.
advanced, unit that was available, so, and they are moving them around, but they do get stuck there. So I want to talk briefly just about the bridge. Today, they opened up, anybody that traveled over the bridge today, coming back to the Eastern Shore, they've realigned the lanes in Anne Arundel County, so it is much smoother. It's easier now for them to close the contra lane. So they don't have the gates up yet, but you're now driving through where the gates are, the concrete's poured, they're running the conduit, won't be ready for, 6 to 12 months, but you're now at least driving so that they can move and complete some of this and get some of that construction away from the traffic. The other thing I want to talk about, and the most important thing I want to talk about, is Queen Anne's County goes purple, and that is a week from tomorrow. Bruce Almighty, you guys are going to be there, right? So, we're looking forward to that. It's right here behind us in the courtyard. Centerville's graciously said they would host this, so, please come out. Next Wednesday, the festivities start, I think, around 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Yeah, 7 p.m. And, it's worthwhile. And with that being said, I know that our Parks Department, some of you probably saw today, there is a section of the Cross Island Trail that we've got purple crepes planted, purple benches are coming, and we're going to make a part of that trail purple for Queen Anne's County Goes Purple and awareness and remembrance of loved ones. So, it's a lot of good things happening, the community coming together. So if you have the opportunity, please come next Wednesday right here in the courtyard. So,
And then also, to pigtail on that, light up your communities in purple.
absolutely. We got, look at our windows behind us. We got our little purple candles already. So
I think
very good.
Commissioner Moran should come with purple face paint on for the next meeting, just to show us
I
the
can wear all
spirit.
purple if you want, you know?
Marty said she would paint him up, so.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Permanent marker.
I think she's looking for black, she's looking for black and blue than
Purple
purple.
Sharpie.
Yes,
All right.
it comes off with water.
Yeah.
So schools are starting back up. Kids will be back in school 5 days a week.
Our next Tuesday, a week from
Yeah,
today.
very excited about that. So it's been a while, so remember, when you see the buses on the road, stop when the buses stop. They have cameras on now, so if you don't stop, we'll find out. And the sheriff's office will send you a ticket. You know, the county and parents have always had a really great partnership with the teachers in the school in educating the kids, so let's please do what we can to keep that going, work with the teachers. It's going to be hard for a lot of students that are getting back into getting used to being in the classroom 5 days. It's going to be difficult on the teachers as well. I hope it goes off, you know, without, you know, any flaws, and that everybody sort of gets back into the game, because one of the most important things we can do is educate our kids. That's the best product that we have as Queen Anne's County, so.
And to add to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
The goal is to keep the kids in the classrooms.
Yeah.
And I think that the steps that they're taking, their intentions in doing so is to make sure that our kids stay in the classroom. If something happens, if somebody gets infected, and are we sending all 22 kids home? Or are we sending just that one student home because everybody's masked up? It's important that the kids are in the classroom. And that's the ultimate goal, that they're there as many days as possible.
Yeah, and then we're all praying for a full year of everybody in school, and I think that's what we're gonna have. So, if there's no more questions, we're gonna go into closed, or do we, I guess we're gonna,
Yeah, we have another closed session scheduled whenever you're finished up with roundtable.
all right? So do we adjourn it first and then go into closed, or do we just go straight to
No, we
closed?
keep-
Motion to go into close.
Motion to go in, right, just keep it open.
Second.
Yeah, all in favor? Aye.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Yeah, we won't adjourn until we come back out of close with our findings.
that's what I thought, just want to make sure. I've never done that. Call the meeting order?
All right, we just had a closed session under section 3-305B7 of the general provisions article to consult with counsel, and no decisions were made in our closed session. So I'll turn it back to the commissioners.
All right,
To adjourn.